Hey, I'm Chase Cunningham, Dr. Cunningham, Dr. Zero Trust. If you want to be cool, I've got that podcast thing. I'm a field CISO here with Lumu, do a lot of work with these people. They're great folks doing great things. We're going to talk about how you can beat the course and how cybersecurity is actually a lot like a great round of golf, which I love golf. So this is a great topic to talk about. But let's get into understanding how we can deal with the problem more effectively and know where the risks lie, and then strategize to beat the course. Lumu's a legit company. A lot of folks will say, Lumu, who are they? Are they small? Are they whatever? They're legit. Like they won Forrester positioning. They've been in Frost and Sullivan. They've done some gig home reporting. Nearly 1,300 customers. Look at the amount of data that they've analyzed, 4.8 trillion. That's a pretty significant number. And they are helping companies identify problems before they become a problem. So there's a lot of value to working with these folks. And you've got plenty of analyst resources and plenty of reflections from the market saying Lumu's legit. So look up Lumu and learn more about them. And if I can help you with Lumu, reach out to me. I'm pretty deeply involved with these folks. They do good stuff. Now, in the context of golf, let's talk about some very basic things. But usually when you think about pro sports, there's kind of two different sides of the coin. There's the pros and the amateurs, basketball, football, soccer, those types of things. At some level in there, I would argue that it's just kind of taken down to a genetic freak level. Like if you're a 7 foot tall person, you're probably a pretty good basketball player. If you're 6'6" and 350 pounds, you probably are a pretty good American football player just because of genetics. However, in golf, it's really all about practice and strategy and understanding where the risks lie. You can be an amateur and work your way up to being a pro in golf simply by being really good at managing the course and knowing how to use your tools effectively. It's the only sport that I'm aware of where anyone anywhere could spend the time and understand what's going on and plot and plan and use their tools effectively, and they can perform at the pro level. That's a lot like what we have in cyber. If we use the tools correctly and we really strategize correctly and understand the risk, and I'm not talking about theorizing, really understanding the risk, we can deal with problems better. A lot like golf. Now, look, in golf, there's nothing worse than trying to tee off when it's foggy outside because you can't see where the ball's going to go. And even if you love golf like myself, you don't want to lose balls because they're like $4 a pop. You don't just go out there and hammer away. If you're seeing this type of thing, the fog in front of you, you don't want to tee off on number one. Additionally, if you really think about how to be a good player at golf, you understand where the risk lies, and where the risk lies is when you can't see what's on the other side of that hill, that mound, that bunker, the backside, etc. That's why I have a picture here of a pros tour book so you can see what's going on here. This is what they tell their players. Here's where you hit. Here's where you don't hit. Here's how we plan to win this hole. Interestingly enough, in pro golf, they always work their way from the hole backwards to the tee. Most golfers go from the tee forward. That's kind of the thing that we're trying to get into in cyber, is that if you understand where the risks really lie and you know where things shouldn't occur, you know where risks shouldn't pop up, you know what normal looks like and different looks like, you have an ability to respond to the risk. Visibility is key here, just like visibility is key in understanding how to play golf correctly. That's the only way to beat the course, is to have really good visibility, really good understanding, and know what the risks are. Your tools technically aren't really going to matter at real scale when you think about it. This is Harry Vardon and Byron Nelson, two of the greatest golfers in all history. I put this up here because I want people to understand. I will guarantee you that if you had a time machine, you could take those two players and put them with today's equipment, and they would murder everybody on the course because they understand how to play, but they also know how to use whatever tools are in front of them so that they can have an optimal outcome. These Gats won tournaments for years. They were the best in the world with really old, crappy technology. How did they do that? They knew what was going on the course, and they knew where to put the ball, and they continually improved their position and reduced risk. That's what you have to do to win, just like that's what we have to do to win in cyber. The point being, you don't have to be a pro cyber person to do things really well. You don't have to have the best tools in the world. If you can get the value from the tools that you have and use them intelligently, you will do better. It's just that simple. Winners and losers in cybersecurity, it's pretty clear to see the differences. Winners, they understand visibility. They know what to do with things that are in front of them. They understand where risks lie. They identify changes and adapt. You don't stick yourself into that same way of thinking and continue along the same path and expect a different outcome. Not a good way to do things. They're not afraid of disruption. If you're going to do things better, you're going to have change. Change is scary, but change is good if done correctly. And know that innovation is making sure that you take new stuff and bring it into your current processes and get more value of what's already there. Doesn't mean crazy rip and replace. It means optimization. It means using stuff quicker, better, faster, smarter. Losers typically stay with the current model. It's the way we've always done it is probably the most dangerous thing you'll ever hear in cybersecurity. They're also very reactionary. They don't deal with strategy. They keep doing the same thing and then trying to kind of jump out of the boat whenever the water gets in. It's not a good way to do it. You know where the threats are. You know where the risks are. You've got to adapt. You've got to be ahead of it. They guess. They don't analyze. A lot of folks will have a lot of information, a lot of telemetry. Are they actually using that telemetry and are they actually getting an outcome from it? That's a difference maker. And then lastly, they're always trying for value from new shiny things. They're always going, oh, there's the coolest new thing. I got to have that. Oh, this is the optimal blah, blah. It's really chasing shiny objects rather than going, what do I have? What do I know? Where do the problems lie? And how can I optimize so that I get the most value from this? Efficiency is ultimately what you're trying to get to. And you can do that by leveraging the stack that you have more accurately to solve problems. There are examples of this all across technology. Blockbuster versus Netflix. I don't think anybody really needs to kind of have a run through that, but obviously it worked out well for Netflix and not Blockbuster because they kind of stayed with the same old approach. Same with Nokia and BlackBerry versus the iPhone and Android. If you do things differently, it's going to play out better for you in the long run, especially if you are adapting to where the risk lies. That's just the truth of technology. Let's be real about this. Bad guys know how to kind of evade the cybersecurity triad, the three-legged stool that we've all dealt with for so long, especially for small and mid-sized businesses and for state and local and those types: firewall, endpoint, email. We've got lots of investment, lots of work there, but the bad guys know, and they've proven repeatedly, it's pretty easy to get past those. Firewalls get past, VPNs poke holes in firewalls, people have crappy passwords, people click links, et cetera, et cetera. The triad does not really stand up. There's got to be a better way to get more value from solutions. Now, this is not saying that those solutions have no value. It's just that there's got to be a better way to get more value from these solutions and do it more optimally, especially when we're thinking about visibility. We want to beat the course. How do we use the tools that we have and strategize correctly, combine them with things like seeing what's going on and beat the course? That's what we're trying to get to. Legacy security tools, they're kind of archaic. They're kind of old. You wouldn't go off. Actually, here's a good one. So when was the VPN introduced? It was like 1993 or 96. If I brought you a piece of 96 technology now and said, use this for your security enterprise, you'd laugh me out of the room. Think about some of the stuff that's come in more recently. SIMs. Originally, those were just log aggregators with sort of a graphic thing on top of it. They were a nightmare to maintain. They were really expensive, super high false positive rate. I have battle scars from trying to make SIM work. EDR, XDR, sure, lots of historical data, signature-based things. You needed to be exceptionally technical to actually get the value out of that. And then this new MDR sort of approach, really exceptionally expensive, manually responsive. It does not actually do things on its own, so it's not really that valuable. It's maybe useful, but where you're trying to get to is optimize, optimize, optimize. These three groups of technology have proven themselves over time to be of, let's call it, limited value. There's got to be a better way to do this. If you're looking about how to grow and the way that you're trying to get towards the next step is you need to move faster, smarter, but you need to make sure that you do that along the lines of a strategic outcome. So where are you getting value from and where would you like to go? Everyone wants to be in cloud, but you want to be in cloud safely and smartly. You don't take your old jacked up approach, throw it in cloud and think you've gotten any better. That's just a jacked up cloud. Same thing with data storage and computing. Everyone wants to optimize here. Being smart and understanding how to leverage that stuff correctly while not introducing risk is exceptionally important. And finally, artificial intelligence, which in reality is not really AI, it's large language modeling and ML, but we want to use that stuff. How do you reduce risk by leveraging that correctly in the context of your business without introducing additional problems? Those are the questions that we should be asking. Luckily, security technology and visibility and understanding what's going on within enterprises can help us use these things quicker, better, faster, smarter. We've just got to be strategic about the use of these assets. SecOps is the word of the day. Everyone wants SecOps. This is how you start to beat the course. This is where you really begin to operationalize capability. If you've never been in a SOC, go check out a SOC. They're super cool. But really what they're doing here is they're empowering cybersecurity teams, and I'm reading so that you can understand the definition, by leveraging the most important signals, the information, the telemetry, the data. Notice it doesn't say all, it says the important stuff, the stuff that actually makes a difference, coming from customers' networks with existing tools, which is also something you should take away. No one in the context of Lumu is saying, you got to buy a whole new stack. We're saying you can make your stack more effective and more optimal with an ability that we're going to put in front of you. And then making sure that you're able to put a fourth stool or a fourth leg on the stool of the cybersecurity triad, if you will, by doing these things quicker, better, faster, smarter, and understanding the relationship between operational capability and outcome. You begin to beat the course. This is where, if you do this stuff correctly, you can move from amateur golfer to pro. In reality, think about the bad guy's perspective. The network is the ultimate source of all truth. Where is everything else going to go? At some point, sooner or later, until Elon Musk starts putting, chips in our heads or whatever, sooner or later, your information, be it useful or not useful or good or stolen or whatever, is going to hit the network at some way, shape, or form. Even if you look at the Lockheed Martin kill chain, with this is kind of an adaptation of that, everything goes through the network at some point. What does this mean for us? Well, this is where visibility comes in. If I can see what's going on across the entirety of that transaction, and I get context, and I can plot, plan, scheme, and I can respond, oh, and by the way, do it with my current stack in a more optimal fashion, that's a win. I can't stand it when people say the bad guy's only got to be right once. That's not true. The bad guy has to be right continually in order to continually have access to your systems. If you interrupt their access or you stop them from using your network, you win. Now, it doesn't mean they'll go away, but that means that you can win. So this is an ability for organizations to actually gain ground if you do this correctly. And remember, the network is where all data moves through. You need to be monitoring and paying attention to what's going on that network, and you need an ability to respond. There are signals going off everywhere. This is where, when I worked in a SOC, like, it was a nightmare to actually sit there and look at those things. This is where the SIM market kind of stalled itself out, because all this information is not necessarily valuable. I think that this is a lot like that slide earlier with the fog in front of the golfer. There's lots of things there, and I know that the fairway is somewhere down there, but if I can't really see where I want to put the ball and approach it intelligently, it's not doing me any good. Now, again, the network is where all this stuff bounces and moves back forth. So you've got to have an ability to gather that information. But the real value comes from understanding it with context and ability to respond to problems and total observability across that stack. Your system is not a one and done. It's an integrated operational capability with many moving parts. The more that you can see and the more that you can leverage that information, the better off you're going to be. In order to beat the course, you must know what's going on the course. This is where you begin to plot, plan, scheme around those risks. And this is where you get that information. This is how you respond. Logs, logs, logs. Everybody's got logs. You got logs for the sake of logs because of logs. If you're doing things in a compliance environment, you have logs for the sake of compliance. That's super. You have to have them. The reality of it is you want to use that information. Now, you can't dig through all those logs manually. It's a nightmare. But what you can do is leverage capabilities or technologies like the ones from Lumu to help you get context and understanding and intelligently leverage the data in those logs. Human intelligence is going to come into this somewhere, but humans are not good at reading machine data. So that translation has to happen. Why not also make it where the visibility enables context and understanding? That's what you're able to get with, and that's where there's real value. You can understand the risks and whether or not something has to be taken care of. You will also understand the context of priority. Not everything is a set your hair on fire, burn the world down type of thing. You can't respond to that. If you have an automated capability and really good context and understanding combined with great visibility, you'll know where to apply fixes, and you'll be more systematic in that approach. This is good. This is strategy. This is beating the course. And look, all of us are trying to get more people. We have a lack of human capital in the space. I think that the reality of it is a lot of what we call human capital needs is actually technology needs. If you're using technology correctly and you're combining the capabilities that you get across your stack in a manner where it would empower someone to respond, you're going to do things quicker, better, faster, smarter. This is how an organization can have one human operate at the level of an entire SOC 24/7. If you're standing there and hoping that you're going to do this with people, you'll never be able to do it with people 24/7, 365 across the entirety of technology. Technology change and adapts. There's so much log, so much information, so many moving parts. The bad guys continually innovate. The only way to do this stuff in real time and to beat the adversaries is to make sure that you have this automated capability. I love the picture where the Lumu guy is looking out and seeing what's going on here, because that's what you're trying to get to. And then lastly, this whole point about getting back to your day, most of us, especially small and mid-sized businesses, we're not doing cyber 24/7. This is why we have MSPs. This is why we have partners, et cetera. I've got other things to do. If my technology is really great and I have this kind of automated human intelligence that's bolted together with the technology side of it, and it's operationalizing my capability, I can go do other things. That's the reality of what's going on. If you do this correctly, you are literally removing problems from the space, which is what you're trying to do. Remember, reducing risks is how you beat the course and you go from amateur to pro. Look, so lastly, Lumu's great about the ability to let you try things out. I think this is where there's a lot of value and understanding. The great thing is, try it out for free. Go put it on your systems, go see what's going on, gain some insight. Anyone that has technology like this that will let you try it on your own, in my opinion, there's a lot of value there. Get a demo, free t-shirts. Everybody loves free t-shirts. And oh, by the way, we're at RSA, so come by and get your free swag. Talk to us, understand what we're doing. I promise you, you're not going to get more insight and more value from a vendor that's doing things in the right way, with solving the problem more intelligently and optimizing your capability and technology stack than Lumu. I'm Dr. Chase Cunningham. This is how you beat the course.